Trump came out as a populist. He came out as a fake populist, and now we're getting some scoop on what actually happened in his presidency. So, article here: Trump supporters, Wisconsin citizens feeling furious over losing their homes for failed Trump-supported factory that was never built. Never built. Never built. So, let me give you the backstory. In 2017, Scott Walker, the former governor of Wisconsin, and Donald Trump came out, and they did this whole photo op at Foxconn, and they said, we're going to build this $10 billion factory. We're going to hire 13,000 people, 13,000 workers. And, they're going to build LCD displays. And LCDs, you see them on your phones, you see them on your tablets, your computers, everything, everything like that. Technology podcast here as well, so we got to, shout out to that part of my show. And so it all imploded. So instead of being a giant factory worth $10 billion. Now, by the way, with these $10 billion, they were going to get about a $4.5 billion subsidy, a state subsidy, so $4.5 billion from the state. And so instead, the article says the factory is 20 times smaller than a warehouse, and they've only hired 281 workers. 281 workers. Do you know how bad that is? We're now 3 years after they had that photo op with Foxconn and Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin and President Trump. 3 years. And that factory was never built. Never built. And now they only hired 281 workers. Here's where it also gets crazy. In order to get that new state subsidy, the first $3 billion or something like that, they needed to hire 520 people. So the company actually came out. Foxconn came out and said, we hired 550 people. Well, they did some research. The state looked into it. They found out they had only hired 281 people, not even close to 550. And then so they found out they were lying just to get the money. They didn't get the money, and so it started to implode after that. So only 281 people were hired. Now, here's the other part really quickly. These people feel stiffed, and they were screwed. They did profiles. Oh, my God. Got a phone call. I'm sorry about that. So they did profiles on these I always say Trump supporters, but on these workers, and they said that they felt stiffed and screwed because I don't like getting phone calls during my videos. I get distracted. But so a lot of these people were paid to move to new locations that were closer to the factory so they could get to work. And so they were given homes. Basically, they were paid to move. And then a lot of these people were stiffed because they got into homes that had mold. They had leaks. They had unfinished houses, unfinished basements. You name it. Those houses were effed up. They were screwed up. And they got screwed. So now, this actually reminds me of another failed building. So, when Trump was coming into the presidency, he did this whole photo op with Mike Pence of Indiana, which is where Courier is located. And he said, well, I'm going to make sure Courier keeps its jobs here. And I'm going to make sure that they don't offshore their jobs and move their jobs overseas. No federal tax dollars, no federal contracts, no government subsidies going to them unless they keep their jobs here. Well, not only did they get billions of dollars in state and federal subsidies, but they still offshored their jobs. What does offshoring their jobs mean? It means they moved their jobs overseas to Mexico, to India, to China, to Canada, to the UK, to the Cayman Islands, to everywhere, because they could pay their workers cheaper over there for cheaper labor and cheaper costs. So you screw over the taxpayers, and then you still offshore their jobs anyway. Jesus Christ, how much more failure can you get? He didn't keep the jobs here, he let them go. He let Foxconn get rid of people's jobs. Now, another incident. Dayton, Ohio. A huge Trump state. He won that in 2016. He won that again this time of year. This year. I don't know why. 1,600 workers lost their jobs because a plant of GM closed and moved their jobs overseas. And then Trump gave them $750 million. I was about to say billion. They're not the military. $750 million in government contracts and subsidies, tax subsidies, to move. So he didn't keep your jobs here. It's this fake populism that Trump has that drew people in because they were tired of Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Bill Clinton doing what Trump just did in his presidency, giving companies the power to just offshore their jobs, close down their plants, move out of Ohio, Indiana, and Wisconsin with Courier, GM, and Foxconn, and then screwing over workers. They end up without homes, they end up without healthcare, they end up without jobs. All because of Trump's fake populism. And you know, I feel like the media should report on this more. Instead of reporting on Russiagate, which is fake, instead of reporting on his porn star crap, which is whatever, you know, instead of reporting on that, and instead of lying about Russia paying bounties for American heads, for American soldiers, instead of reporting on that, because that story is also fake, and only 2 agencies in the intelligence community have come out saying it's true out of 16 or 17, not so great. But instead of reporting on that, they could have reported on this, and then real Trump supporters would have gone, wait a minute, he's promising to keep our jobs here, promising we could keep our homes. Instead, our jobs are being lost. They're given subsidies, these companies are given subsidies. The government is giving them away. They're still offshoring their jobs. They're still hosing us the tax dollars and still screwing us over. Okay, then we don't want to vote for Trump. But no, the media doesn't do their jobs. And then you have ardent, real big Trump supporters at the core saying, I still love this president. He's my president. He's got our best interest in mind. No, he doesn't. He's a fake populist, just like the Democrats. And the thing is that the Democrats don't even lie. They tell you they're not even populists. But Trump knew that was the way to get elected, and so he became a fake populist. And epically failed. Epically failed at it.